Hey there folks, this is GreenyXI welcoming you right back to Let's Play Umineko. This is episode 140. In the last episode, Angie smacked herself on the concrete, on the asphalt. She finally jumped after learning the truth from that book, which is where I thought we would start learning the actual truth of what happened on Rokkenjima. But it just sort of made it all go into Angie's head and we didn't actually see what happened, and she did what she said she was going to do and try to kill herself. So, let's see where it goes from there. I saw a shadow, which was apparently the driver, open an umbrella and come towards me. This is the car from the last part that saw her. Is this your backyard? The shadow questioned me. Of course, I couldn't answer it. If it is, then I must apologise. Yes, on a day with such fine weather, anyone would want to take a nap in such a lovely backyard as this. Fine weather with all the rain. And yet, unless my memory fails me, the shadow crouched down and looked into my face. It was a woman. It's her. This is a public highway you're sleeping on. Do you want to become roadkill? Or maybe you already are roadkill. Well, no. Which one is it? I clenched my chest. I felt I needed to answer somehow and communicate my intentions. So finally, I managed to let a short groan escape my lips. I see. So you aren't roadkill yet. And that was how I met Ikuko. Ah, she met her as Featherin, did she? I can't remember. I think it must have been. Ooh, nice house. The patient's body is in a very frail condition. Some sort of memory loss is very probable as well. We won't know for sure until the CT scan, but there may even be brain damage. It's lucky that damage is all we have to deal with. Any longer in a spot like that, and it would likely have been much worse. True. In any event, I recommend getting this checked at a large hospital. Thank you, doctor. Please keep this off the record. It may not be much, but here's some money for your troubles. I see no reason to speak of this needlessly, but no, I couldn't possibly accept that much. In the end, the doctor took the money and swore to keep quiet about the matter. Eventually, Hachijo returned. Oh, you were awake. How'd you feel? I nodded weakly, letting her know that it wasn't so bad for now. But where's this place? A room I have absolutely no memory of, in a house I don't remember at all. And first and foremost, here's a woman I've never seen. To start off, let me introduce myself. I'm Hachijo Hikuko. Feel free to casually call me Ikuko, or act more formal and call me Hachijo-san. Hachijo Ikuko. The Hachijo family owns a large amount of land and is fairly famous in these parts. Unlike my accomplished brothers, I'm what you might call a little eccentric. I got into a bit too much mischief, and my parents finally ran out of patience and kicked me out. I'm now confined to this house. As a hobby, I like to read detective novels, and also to write them. My age is a single woman's secret. Ha! My heart is that of a girl, but I'm approaching the point where calling myself one becomes increasingly absurd. With the haze my mind was in, it was extremely hard to make out what she was talking about. However, I was able to pick up on the fact that she was trying to cheer me up. So, what's your name? My name? Logically, I know that being a human, I must have a name. And I do have the feeling that I did indeed have a name. However, no matter how hard I tried to remember what it was, it just made my head hurt. Can you remember anything besides your name? Who am I? My head? No, even my heart was a mess of torn flesh. And I couldn't remember a thing, not even who or what I was. But I must remember. I had some kind of purpose, or maybe a mission. In order to remember that, I first have to remember who I am. Who am I? What is my name? Where was I born, and what was my birthday? I need to remember something, anything. Age. Age? That's my little secret. 18. I look like I'm 18? I'm 18. Oh, so that was your age. Well, now, I thought you were being a bit too flattering. When I asked myself how old I was, the number 18 floated into my mind. To be honest, the number 18 felt a bit out of place. My mind felt much younger than that. My pathetic body felt much older. I see. So you're 18. And that's all you can remember. I nodded weakly. I never knew that knowing nothing about yourself could make you feel this powerless. In that case, until you remember your name. Let's give you the name Toya, written with the characters for 18 until you remember. Hachijo Toya. What do you think? That sounds pretty cool. Yes, I must say I've impressed myself very much with that one. Hachijo Ikuko gave a satisfied laugh. From then on, I took the name Hachijo Toya. My inability to move my body was apparently due to a traffic accident. On that day, I had been hit by a car and Ikuko had picked me up from where I lay on the street. If she hadn't hit the brakes, she probably would have driven straight onwards, thinking she'd run over a dead dog or something. Later on, perhaps rudely, I suspected that the one who hit me might have been Ikuko herself. But when I saw her completely undamaged front bumper, I gave up on that theory. This is Ange, innit? I mean, I don't know what's going on in a sec. Hachijo Ikuko lived in a small but lovely mansion on the top of a small hill in a village with a view of the sea. She also owned the hill behind her and was more than capable of enjoying the 4 seasons in privacy. As time passed slowly, my rehabilitations continued and my ability to move improved little by little. However, it seemed I really did suffer some form of brain damage. Finding out who I was looked like it would be a very difficult task. In the beginning, when I couldn't bear not knowing my identity, my head often hurt so much it felt as though it would explode. However, as I slowly accepted the fact that I was a new person with a new name of Hachijo Toya, the headaches became less frequent. That whole time, no memories returned to me except the fact that I had been 18. However, I was unable to remember anymore, unable even to be sure that 18 was my true age. And eventually, I stopped trying to remember my former self. Good morning, Toya. That was quite the storm last night. Were you able to sleep well? I had some trouble falling asleep, so I decided to read your manuscript. My. How far did you manage to get? I finished it. Now there's a surprise. You managed to read through all that in a single night? I was surprised too. Once I got into it, I'd finished before I knew it. It was like I was just skimming it, or maybe like I was taking in each page with just a glance. It sounds like you have some talent at speed reading. So how was it? What did you think of it? I liked it a lot. Still, if you don't explain that part about the ocean currents a bit more clearly, it might be a little unfair for a detective novel. Oh, but I thought it was great that you had the foreshadowing with the ring right there at the beginning. After I finished, I had to go back to the beginning and slap myself for being so easily tricked. I think giving people that feeling is what detective novels do best. Did I say something to offend you? If I did, you have my apologies. Of course not. Why are you apologising? I'm just shocked, that's all. Your detailed opinions are worthy of praise, I believe. It seems you have some talent as a critic or a detective novel writer too. A detective novel writer? A critic? From across the fog of oblivion, I seem to remember myself fighting and arguing about mysteries or something like that. That way of fighting, which I must have learned in the past, sent a surge of excitement through me. Mystery. Fighting. My head hurt. I took a painkiller and swallowed it with fresh water brought up from the well. Who am I really? But no matter how much I thought, I couldn't remember. From what I've been told, the frequency of the headaches might be lessened by brain surgery, but there was no guarantee that it would do my memory any good. Akiko said that she would let me have surgery if I wanted it. However, I refused. Even if I can't remember it, the real me is still there, sleeping inside my head. I was scared that the surgery might harm that me somehow. By now, I've gotten used to dealing with headaches. As long as I don't force myself to remember the past, the headaches don't torment me every day. So bit by bit, I became free of the headaches and got used to my new life as Hachijo Toya. Gradually, my interest shifted from myself to Ikuko. Hachijo Ikuko, a very strange woman. First off, she was apparently the daughter of a very well-off family, just as she had said. However, she was considerably eccentric, and the various mischievous incidents she spoke of had apparently gotten her within an inch of being disowned. As a result, she had been given this house and had been ordered to live here quietly and alone. She had never been a particularly sociable person, so she happily accepted this new state of affairs, living however she pleased with servants to take care of her. She had no friends. No one ever came to visit. When I wasn't around, she only ever talked to an old black cat she kept as a pet, named Burn. I don't know her real age. She doesn't seem to be too old to marry yet, but with an isolated life like this, she isn't likely to meet people. She sometimes says that she just hasn't met anyone worth the trouble, but I think she's already given up on marriage. Her everyday life was very simple. She would either read through the many detective novels that were brought to her, or else write detective novels herself. At first I thought she was some novelist at a private retreat, plugging away at a new book. However, the manuscripts she finished just ended up clipped together in a pile. With me as the sole exception, it didn't look like she ever let anyone read them. A novelist is someone who writes novels for people to read, so I figured you could hardly call her a novelist when she kept writing novels no one would ever see. Akiko-san, why didn't you ever show these to anyone? I show them to you. Only the better ones, of course. Haven't you ever thought of sending one to some publishing company? It's a waste otherwise, when your works are so interesting. My works can't stand up against the pros. I sent one in once, but it was absolutely no good. I understand my position. This is just an amateur's pastime. I don't think amateur is a fitting word for someone who's so well versed in detective novels from all times and all across the world. Being a big eater doesn't mean you'll make a good cook. Reading every detective novel you can get your hands on is no guarantee that you're a good detective novelist. That's how it is. That's why this is nothing more than a pastime. Is it really fun to write novels that you won't show to anyone? It used to be. Once. What about now? I like getting to hear your opinions. At any rate, I've finished writing the chapter. I'll go make some tea, so would you mind reading it again and sharing your thoughts with me? Saying this with a smile, Ikuko thrust a pile of manuscript paper at me. I'm convinced that whether you read detective novels or write them, they're boring if you're all on your own. You can only find something really precious when you share that world with someone else. Headache. Toya? Are you okay? I'll go get some headache medicine. I'm fine. I'm more interested in this manuscript. I can't wait for the new chapter. The seasons passed, together with Ikuko, in this town whose name I didn't even know. We spent our days debating detective novels and talking about ideas for new plots. At a glance, they may have appeared to be stale and unproductive days. However, Hachijo Toya found satisfaction with this new life. Ooh, nice sunset. And so, the curtain closes on the strange tale of Kurokubi Island. The end. What island? With a dramatic flourish of her pen, Ikuko signified that her manuscript was now complete. What do you think? I tried using your plot to make Tsujiko's tragic love scene at the end a bit more moving. I think it's very good. I'd say the last farewell is sad enough to make it moving as a story, not just a reasoning puzzle. That's all thanks to your plot. Compared to this work, everything I've written before now is worth little more than scrap paper. Even as I was writing it, I was excited to be the first person in the world who got to read it. I've never felt that before. I just mentioned some ideas. You're the one who turned them into such a fascinating story, Ikuko-san. At some point she roped me in as well, and I too started my journey in the world of writing detective novels. Apparently the old me had some talent for mysteries and detective novels and the like, and my talent seemed to be of a fairly unorthodox kind. I tried turning famous mysteries from across the world on their head, twisting those ideas into something new. However, a few ideas aren't enough to make a book. No meal is complete if all you can do is chop up vegetables. Thanks to Ikuko's writing, a skill she had built up over many years, my ideas were transformed into a work of fiction. In this work, The Strange Tale of Kurokubi Island, the two of us merged the best of our respective personalities. And though I hate to brag, it had turned into a masterpiece that we could show to anyone without shame. Hello? Please bring us some champagne. Bring a glass for yourself as well. This is the best job we've done so far, so let's celebrate. Ikiko called for some champagne over the internal phone line. Joined by the servant who happened to be working that day, and the cat Byrne, who we raised our glasses high and toasted our accomplishment. Ikuko-san, I have an idea, if you don't mind. Let's hear it. I love hearing your ideas, as long as I'm not in the shower or on the can. Why don't we try submitting our book? I've never read anything this interesting before. I'm sure lots of other people will want to read it. You think so? I tried once in the past, thinking the same thing, but the result was... I believe in your talent, Akiko-san. What about you? Of course I believe in your talent. Then it's decided. to Akuko-san's big debut, to Toya's big debut. We clinked our glasses once more, and on it went. This is a weird part. We must have had way too much to drink. Before I knew it, I must have passed out on the sofa. There was a blanket covering me. Akuko-san must have put it there. The lights were out in the study, but it wasn't dark. The computer's monitor was glowing. Outside, it had started to rain. It reminded me of the day Akuko-san found me and took me in. Because of that, whenever it rains, I find myself wondering who I was, and I usually get headaches. So I wasn't sure whether the pain was because of the rain, or because I drank too much. Akuko-san, turn on the lights. Using a computer in the dark is bad for your eyes. Oh, did I wake you up? No, I slept well. I feel refreshed now. I turned on the light and looked out through a gap in the curtains. As I thought, it was the sort of pouring rain that always reminded me of that day. It's raining pretty hard out there. The wind looks pretty strong too. I hope the rain gutters don't get clogged with leaves again. I just cleaned them the other day, so it should be fine for a while. Her answer sounded a little abstracted. Apparently, her attention was absorbed by the computer. You've been pretty hooked by that computer lately, Ikuko-san. Did you find an interesting article or something? It may be a bit juvenile, but it's still pretty interesting. It's about that Rokkenjima incident. Rokkenjima? I told you about the Rokkenjima mystery a few days ago, remember? It's been really huge on the net lately. The discussions, theories, even the forgeries have been quite entertaining. Forgeries are stories, all based on the premise that yet another message bottle signed by Ashuramaye Maria existed and drifted to one of the nearby islands. Akuko kept showing off her knowledge of the subject. However, a huge bell was clanging inside my head. The noise was so great that I thought my head would split open. Unable to tell what the floor and what was the ceiling, I crumpled and clutched at my head. Toya, are you okay? My head hurts. The Rokkenjima explosion accident, the many disquieting rumours surrounding it, the scheming of the relatives who were after Ashuramaye Kinzo's vast wealth and the hidden gold. And the truth? Ashuramaye Eva, the sole survivor, said nothing. Eventually, everything would be inherited by the granddaughter, Ashuramaye Ange, who escaped harm because she was absent on that day. Ange, Ashuramaye Ange. I am Ashuramaye. Yeah. No good, my head's getting split open. Here we go, this is what we've been waiting for. Get back into it. Incomprehensible scenes pierced my eyelids from the inside like blades of light. Just what am I looking at? Who are these people calling to me, but not by the name Toya? Who am I? Who are these people? What is this memory? Help me, Akuko. Someone else's memory is hurting me. My head's splitting. I could hear the sorrowful sound of wind, and that must be rain. Who was I again? I'm Ashuramaye. Ange, please say something. Voices calling to me. Dad and Mom. It can't be. In 1986 on Rokkenjima, Mom and Dad. Ange, hang in there. Can you hear Daddy's voice? Please say something, Ange. Dad, Mom. I'll say it out loud. Dad, Mom. Ange, thank goodness. I could feel my body being lifted up firmly and hugged roughly. Mom and Dad were hugging me. My eyelids have been open for a while now. I could feel the light slowly returning to my eyes. Just like your eyes get used to the dark, my eyes got used to the light, and bit by bit, the scene around me came into view. However, it was an unusual sight, which seemed to be very far away. My body was being hugged by Dad and Mom. Dad was sniffing, his face covered with tears. There were tears in Mom's eyes too, as she held me tight. It was so strong that it hurt a bit. They held me with all their strength. Me, the bad kid who wasn't obedient, who always had an excuse, and who always tried to do the opposite of what her parents said. They held me tight to make sure I didn't head down the wrong path. As my eyes adjusted, I could see other people besides my parents. Everyone was there. George Oni-chan, Jessica Oni-chan, Maria Oni-chan, my uncles and aunts, even Sakataro. And there was the witch Virgilia and Ronave and... We. You were fortunate. By chance we found you drifting in the waves of the Sea of Emptiness. You were in a terrible state. It took quite some time to make you remember your true form. Beatrice. So this is... the Golden Land. Your whole family has been waiting here for you to return. We knew you would come home. Did I come home because I was supposed to? I've gone back to how I'm supposed to be, and now... No, you did come home. That's right. You made it back here because you wanted to come home to us. Dad? Mom? You don't need to say anything. You've been on a great and terrible journey, haven't you? A journey where you were all alone. You understand now, don't you? You won't forget again. I understand, Dad. This is a place you can always call home. I know. When I gave that answer, Dad and Mom hugged me again. Hot tears fell onto my face. They were Dad's and Mom's tears. I can tell by looking that you're far from all right. But I'm so glad. Glad you came home. Aunt Eva. Feel free to hate me as much as you want. Give your dad and mom a million kisses. Give a kiss to everyone who cared about you so much. Aunt Eva. And say, I'm home to your other mother. Mom gave me a push from behind and I stumbled forwards, towards my other mother. Eva, Mom, Angie-chan. If only I'd called you Mom on that day. I might have never have messed up. We might have been able to create a new world together. That's enough. You've come home. You don't need to say anything else. Mom. Mom. Welcome home, Angie-chan. You're my adorable daughter. Mom. Always, and until the end, you were my closest friend. The two of them hugged each other quietly, burying their faces in the other's shoulders and sobbing. The truth wasn't worth anything at all. In the first place, the truth is always in the past. The point of the future isn't to learn what happened in the past. What really matters is whether I can truly live and prosper in the truth that is the now. If I truly live and prosper, that's the truth. Back when I only ever tried to see the truth of the past, I was nothing more than a ghost trapped in that past. Since that time, I haven't lived a single day. Now I truly understand. This is what the real truth is. I will live. And I've remembered how much everyone loved me. Because I was young and selfish, I didn't even remember until now. The kind grandpa who always spoiled me. The entertaining aunts and uncles. All the kind and gentle servants. It was always warm. And yet, because I was young and cruel, I never tried to remember any of that. Everyone got distorted by my irresponsible imagination, and I completely forgot the truth. Now I can remember clearly, and I understand, that Halloween quiz party certainly was an illusion. It never happened. However, didn't we do all kinds of things when the relatives gathered? Things that were no more or less fun than that party? And for the first time since the start of the game, I went up to each and every one of them to greet them, thank them, apologise, to thank Grandpa for always pampering me, to thank my aunts and uncles, to thank the cousins for always playing with me, even though I was so selfish. And I thanked and apologised to the illusions. I think I said something horrible to Sakataro once, in the past, and to Maria Oni-chan too. Maria Oni-chan, you really were a witch, weren't you? I've always been a witch. You approached that level yourself once, didn't you? No. I never really understood. Pitiful Maria Oni-chan with her pitiful magic. That's all I thought of it. So I couldn't pick up a fragment of happiness, couldn't even find one. You told me yourself once, Oni-chan. It can't be helped. It takes two to create a universe. I had Bito, but you were all alone. No. If I had called Aunt Eva Mom, there would have been two of us. I'm sure I would have been able to create a new world with the same magic you used, Maria Oni-chan. All of it's my fault. The message bottles I threw away half-jokingly distorted your future and wore you down. I bear responsibility for that. Yeah, seriously. It's all because of your message bottles. Because of that, people started copying you and making forgeries, growing the story into something crazy. It is a bit crazy. However, the message bottles thrown away by Bito did not name a specific person as the culprit. One of the forgers wrote a plausible forgery that had Ashura Maya Eva as the culprit, and it spread like wildfire. Even though I should have known better than anyone else that it was impossible, I accepted it in the end. It isn't your fault, Bito. No matter how many people around me had baseless suspicions, there should have only been one truth inside me. And yet, so easily, I abandoned my warm memories of you all, and surrendered my heart to them. No. If I had not thrown away the message bottles, the future of Rokkenjima would never have become the centre of such bizarre misconceptions. I bear responsibility for it all. True. That's right, it really is your fault after all. Moo. Put that way, it's a little irritating. You do have your share of the blame as well. Yeah, you're right. You were at fault, and so was I. Still, it'd be stupid for us to attack each other. After all, I'm a witch of the future. You're a witch of the past. I should be using that magic to build my future. We both bear responsibility in some way, but neither of us has the right to blame the other. I knew you'd be able to understand Maria Sorcier's teachings, Ange. That's right. As the final member of Maria Sorcier, it's my responsibility to pass on Oni-chan's magic. My magic can make everyone happy. Indeed. You have both pure magic and wicked magic at your fingertips. That's true. Magic can change completely depending on your heart. If you aren't properly guided, you can't use magic properly. And proper magic can bring people happiness. It's a wonderful thing. Bringing people happiness is the sole reason that witches wield magic. I am very pleased to know that those teachings have been passed down through the endless witches all the way to the final witch. Sorry for failing to pass it down myself at all. Witch of the future, Ange Beatrice. I will now retract your expulsion from Mariage Sorcier. Hey, I knew Ange would come back. Congratulations, Ange-sama. I thought I knew what the time we spent travelling together meant, and yet Sorry. I'm so sorry. Witches cannot create a universe unless there are two. In the future, you will be alone. Will you really be okay? Yeah, I'll be okay. I'm not alone anymore. I'll live. With everyone. And I'll live in the future. I swear to keep living so that I can pass on the magic of Mariage Sorcier. Maria Oni-chan's magic has saved me too. There are a lot of people out there who need magic. As the final witch of Mariage Sorcier, it's my duty to teach it the right way and save as many people as I can. Will you truly be able to do so? Of course, I have the power to do it. It's the golden magic that my predecessor, Eva Beatrice, spent so much time building. I've inherited all of that, right? Well, if only my health had held out a little longer, I was planning to spend all of it on myself. As Ange laughed, tears poured from her eyes again. Everyone surrounded Ange with their kind, warm smiles. Battler stood alone in the rose garden maze, letting the rain quietly fall on him. After searching for some time, Ange found him. Oni-chan. Ange, who was feeling guilty, sensed anger in her brother's expression, so she thought he was going to hit her. She shut her eyes. However, her brother touched her softly. He patted her head gently. Hey. The truth wasn't anything important, was it? No, it wasn't. Even though you were here, waiting for me to come home in such a warm world, I had my back turned the whole time. You learned the truth. Yeah. So any hopes you had of someone miraculously surviving and coming back have been crushed. However, you now have a new mission, a hope for living in the future. You kept that precious hope safe for me. I was the one who opened the box and let her get away. It turned out worse than Pandora's box. A truth I didn't need to know flew out of the box, along with all my hopes, leaving nothing inside but empty space. That's okay. It's open now, and that's that. If it's empty inside, that means it won't fester. After all, false hopes can sometimes bring you pain. Battler laughed heartily. Then with that same smile on his face, he told her, "We're already dead." Yeah. You've lived 12 years on the hope that we might still be alive. Not anymore. That's over and done with. Yeah. I know. Starting now, I'll step forward into a new life. Beto put Rock and Jima in the cat box. The next witch, Aunt Eva, guarded the lid of that cat box her whole life. You, the witch after her, opened that lid. But so what? Why does the truth of the past matter? Yeah. From now on, I'll truly live. And I'll make my own personal truth prosper. Good luck. Final Witch of Mariage Sorcier. I've read Maria's grimoire. It's a great book with some really good stuff written in it. Even the Bible needs a translator. So Maria's grimoire probably needs one too. You'll be that translator. You gotta teach kids who are in the position you once were. That's your mission as the new witch of the future. Yeah. I'm gone. But I'll always be behind you, watching over you. I know. And not just you. Everyone else too. All of us will love you forever. Don't forget that. I won't forget. Not ever, and that's for certain. Ange leapt into Battler's chest and sobbed. Humans are sad creatures who can learn but not unlearn. She had already learned. It may have been a cruel, terrifying, merciless thing, capable of destroying even the miracle called hope. However, there was still one tiny fragment left gripped in her hand. Her family's love. If she can just remember that and hold it tight, then surely Ange will live on. She'll be able to stop before taking that single step into nothingness. Also, the Rock and Jima cat box hasn't been opened completely. You've just taken a peek at what's inside, so you must be the lid yourself. And this time, you'll protect everyone inside the cat box. Me and Dad and Kirie-san, the cousins and the uncles and the aunts, Grandfather and the servants, and all the illusions. Yeah. This time, I have to protect everyone. Then shouldn't you hurry up a bit? The sound of popcorn being eaten rang out behind the rose bush. It was Lambda Delta. I think you know this already, but Byrne is just about to hold a big party for the Book of the Single Truth. She's gathered beings from heaven and from hell, from the spirit world and from parallel worlds. If she announces what's in the book in a place like that, it'll all be too late, won't it? I'm going. I gave Byrncastle that key. It's my responsibility. I'll go and take it back. The City of Books, huh? But there's no way for us to get in. There's a barrier around that place. She gave me this. With it, I can come and go as I please. What an idiot. She forgot to collect it when she threw me away. And she fished through her pocket and there was a jingling sound. It was a bell with a blue ribbon tied to it. That's it. One of those temporary entry passes that you get when you turn in your invitation. As long as you have that, at least one of you will be able to get into the City of Books. As long as someone takes you across the Sea of Fragments first. Lambda Delta, take me to the City of Books. Ange, this is my way of taking responsibility. I'll see to it that the Book of the Single Truth isn't made public. You serious? That place is a den of monsters among monsters. Now that you've lost Byrne's protection, you'll be weaker than a fly. Squish! The end. Ah, the bell was snatched from Ange's hands. Lambda Delta, I'll go. I just need you to get me in there. After all, I'm an empty creature, unable to exist outside the cat box. Ange, on the other hand, must live on into the future, and you're a person with a future too. So I'll go. I have nothing to lose. No, this is my responsibility. My way of making up for what I did. If I don't do it myself, the future won't change at all, and I won't be able to save any future cat boxes. Ange tried to snatch the key from Battler's hand, but Battler had no intention of giving up. The two of them were grimly serious, but from the sidelines, it looked like an ordinary squabble between two close siblings. Lambda Delta watched this conversation and shrugged. If she just took one of them to the City of Books, she wouldn't have to make any enemies, and there was no risk to her. All she cared about was which one would make the story more interesting. Nothing else. But then she finally noticed. Hold on. Hold on a sec, you two. Hold on. What's your problem? Save it for later. We're having an important sibling discussion here. Okay, first off, let go of each other's hands. Battler's holding the bell now, right? Jump, Battler. Jump. Like this. Jingle, jingle. You next, Angie. Try jumping. Why the hell should I? Oh, they're both jingling. Huh? Why? If Battler was holding the bell, where did that sound come from? Angie hurriedly searched through her pockets. When she did, another blue ribboned bell came out of a different pocket than the first one. These are the same, aren't they? No way. Why are these two? Why are there two? I was only given one of them. I don't know why. At any rate, you got two bells that'll get you into the City of Books. Now I don't have to sit here and watch the two of you play around with each other anymore. The pair of them gripped their bells and looked at each other. From the very beginning, this game has belonged to the two of you. There's just been a slight change in who the opponent is. This isn't a competition between you two. It's a fight between Battler and Angie, who want to close the lid on the cat box, and Byrne, who wants it opened. Angie has moved from Byrne's team to Battler's team. That's all there is to it. Lambda Delta, take us to the City of Books. Okay, I'm just taking you there. Got it? After that, I'm done being anything but a spectator. I just want to have the best seats to see exactly how you fight, what you do, how Byrne makes mincemeat out of you all. Lambda Delta, thanks. Oh. That was a much shorter one than usual. Like the last couple have been... Well, the last one was an hour long, wasn't it? Well, there we go then. They're both going back to the City of Books and going to try and stop the single truth from getting out. I mean, I hope we get to see... What's the point in the game if you don't get to see the truth? I'm hoping we do. But we'll carry on next time. What's coming next time? Is it them taking their journey? Ah. It's back to the ships attacking the Golden Land, is it? I guess so. Anyway, we'll do our next time. This has been Greeny XI. Hope you've enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again in a bit when we see what that's all about. See you in a bit, folks.